Welcome along and welcome back to our Start From Scratch series here on the Old Farm Countryside. We are down at the shop because we've got a couple of bits of equipment that we need to pick up. Now, what I'm going to have to do is I am going to have to borrow some money. That is because the tractor is going to be, we're going to pick up a new tractor. That's going to be about 20,000. And we want to pick up a new cultivator as well. That is going to be about 15,000. So we've only got 10,000. We're gonna need, well, we've got 11,000. We're gonna need to borrow 25,000. Hopefully we can do it, and we're gonna see how close we can get to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can actually borrow all the money we want to, which is absolutely brilliant. So the first thing we do is we're going to buy our tractor. And the tractor we're going to buy is this little Agrostar. So it's quite a nice little tractor. It's an older shape. We've got several different colours that we can put on it. That's the forest. I think. See, that's a communal one. There's the red. Oh, the red looks quite nice. But I think we're just going to go for the Alt Deutz. We'll go with that one. We will stick with, I think, we'll stick with a fairly standard colour for this. Configuration, I want to put on a big front weight on it. Wheel brand, we've got Michelin's. Wheel setup, we're going with standard. We don't want GPS. We don't want a front loader attacher. We do want to bump the engine up a little bit. And that takes us to 21,000 for this. So let's grab that. So that's the first thing we want to grab at the moment. The second thing we want to grab is in here. We want a cultivator. Now the best value for money cultivator that I've got is this one. It's a Sapphire. It's a 6-meter cultivator, so will work really well for us, and it's 13,900, so just less than the amount of money we've got left. So we're going to buy that as well and head back, and there we go. There is our 2 new pieces of kit. So those are pretty cool. So what we're going to be using this little Deutz for, with its power, it's just under 100 horsepower, and what that's going to be used for is we're actually going to use it for carting, because we want our main tractor, our other tractor, to be available for to be doing stuff with this cultivator and planting and things like this. So we just need a tractor that on this fairly flat map we can connect up to our trailer and get moving about. But obviously there was no point in driving our other tractor up here if what we were going to be doing was getting was basically just getting this back. So that's why we've got this here like this. It's going to get us set up going forwards, because at the moment we don't actually have any more harvesting contracts. So this is sort of preparation probably for the next game day, because there are so many fields that are just about ready to harvest. So I'm hoping we're going to be able to pick up a couple of harvest contracts going forward. Today we're going to get this back. We're going to connect this up to our fence, and we're going to get our fields cultivated, ready to get them replanted. We're back at our farm now, and that thankfully didn't take very long. What we're going to do is I'm just going to bring this over here. There's our fence. That's all ready in position. We'll lower this down and drop this off. Oh, we need to touch the hoses and then detach that. Perfect. So we're going to park this up in the shed, because we've got no needs to attach it to the trailer at the moment. And this little Deutz should do everything we need for sort of just nipping around. We could put a 3-point linkage on the front of it actually. And rather than have that, we've got this leftover 3-point linkage here from when we had the Lamborghini that we could use. But first, I want to use this. I want to hook up to our fence. Now this has 195 horsepower, so it should have easily enough to handle this piece of kit. And the reason why we're using this is we actually were renting all of our kit like this before. So having this and getting this means that we're now out of that. We're now actually using all of our own kit for this kind of thing. I'm trying to cut down slowly on the amount of stuff that we have rented and that we're using that is leased stuff, because it does cost us a huge amount, and we spend every day on this series at the moment trying to sort ourselves out from that situation. We need to hook up our hoses, so let's do that. There we go, and that will then allow us to unfold this, and then we can get cultivating our field like so. And yeah, this tractor has no issues with this at all. If we can get this cultivated and get replanting on this, that is going to be great. We'll be able to start making a good amount of money, and we just need to work out which is going to be our best crop for doing that. So at the moment, this is working very nicely. We've got a good amount going behind us, and it's moving through the field fairly quickly. Now what I'm thinking is our new little doits might work quite well as a seeder. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to set this going on a hired worker, but I don't trust it enough. So we're going to keep going with this for now, but I'm going to switch over. One of the things I was talking about earlier was putting the other triangle weight we've got on the front of our little doits. So I think what we'll do is put a 3-point link on the front of that. Get that changed while we can. And then, once that's done, we can look at getting our seeder onto it. Now I think our seeder, let's have a look at this. Let's get that running on cruise control. And then what we can do is look at our seeder and see what it offers. So this requires 100 horsepower. That requires nothing. And our little Deutz is 95. So it's a 5 horsepower deficit. That should not be a problem. That should work absolutely fine. So yeah, I think we should go and switch over, get a 3-point link on top of that. And then, while we're in a position where we haven't got any harvesting contracts, that tractor can be used for that. And when it isn't, when it's not available for that, and we've got it using on the harvesting contracts, what we can do is we can then do the planting with this tractor instead. So before we get back into this row, let's head over here, jump in this, and we will just go and do this. This weight was quite useful while we were having to get the other stuff back, but now that we're not, I think a 3-point linkage is going to be much more useful for us for this little tractor. I'm very, very pleased that we didn't end up renting this in the end. So configuration, there we go. 3-point linkage is gonna cost 1,250. We are gonna have to borrow that little bit more money, which again we can do. We're up to 535,000 though, so this is now borrowing 80% of the value of our land. But yeah, in order to do this configuration, to put this on there is going to be an extra 1,250. So customize that. There we go. And what I'm also going to do is, while we still have a bit of cash, while we still have 4,700 pounds, let's hook this up to our seeder and get that filled up. Now I don't want to start this today doing this job, simply because if we do that and we go overnight, we're going to end up with a mismatch on our field of exactly what we can do, a growth rate for our crops. So we need to avoid doing that. Let's see if we can connect the hose up. There we go. lift that. So this does have a full thing of oats, so that's really good. We're probably not going to plant oats this time. I think, what did we have in our field previously? So that is soybeans, so we probably want to put some canola in this time. I think would be a good choice. Yeah, I think probably canola in here, soybeans in there, and that will do as well. But we can leave this tractor here now and head back to this, drop this down, and get some more of this cultivated. Over halfway through the field now, and we are zipping through this with this 6-meter cultivator. It is working an absolute treat. We're into the area of the field that used to be grassland, that we expanded field 33 into, and sort of getting onto the bits that are a little bit of an odd shape. The field sort of cuts in a little bit here to meet up with the trees. I think it's basically because I didn't quite get my line right at the time, and we also had the whole thing about not knowing whether we were going to extend that way, because we didn't know whether I was going to move the tent or not at the time. I think we do need to, before we get onto the other field, I think we might need to smooth that out a bit at the top end. My trouble is with that, is that is going to require some sort of plough to do, and I'm trying to avoid having to get any more equipment or any extra equipment beyond what we have. So we may have to put up with the slightly odd terrain at the top end of fields 35, at the extended field 35. But this field I'm pleased with. I really do like how this field turned out here, especially the way it cuts down along the side of the road, as that leads into the top, the original part of the yard there. Just sort of follows the side of the road there quite nicely, and brings it in. And I've got quite attached to the yard on this map. We've got the original yard that's quite kind of small and kind of where we keep all of our implements, and then yeah, we've got the new yard with the new stuff at the far end, with space for us to expand further if we can, and if we manage to maybe get well, we were talking before about getting cows in. So what we're trying to save up for at the moment is to get that cow building, that 100,000 to do that. So that is what the next target is. Hopefully we can get crops in here that get us a good way towards that, and maybe if we can do enough contracts and things, we might get a few extra crops that also help us to hit that. The biggest issue we have at the moment is trying to convert these leased items into items that aren't going to cost us quite so much every month. And the biggest issue there, the biggest sore thumb we have as far as that's concerned, is the combine. So at some point we may have to look at downgrading our combine, simply because at the moment it's kind of destroying our income for most of the time. It needs to be put to good use and keep earning its keep, I think. So that's the main body of the field just about done. We've got about 2 widths worth of headlands. So I'm going to take this up and just sort of go around here, see if we can get these all in. We'll end up finishing, doing it this way, we'll end up finishing roughly where we just came, which is really cool. I'm very happy about the space, or the place we're looking at finishing these headlands at, which is very good news. And yeah, it's gone pretty smoothly. I'm impressed with this piece of kit. I think it's available on the mod hub, this cultivator. Really useful cultivator. Not a massive horsepower requirement. It has 150 horsepower requirement, but a 6 meter working width, which is a really good combination if you're looking to get stuff done in a reasonable time. I'm very pleased that we've got stuff done before the sun has set on this map. Really good. We are in a position where we can get this field planted next time. Now what I want to do is make sure we get right into the corner here. There we go. Yeah, so we should be able to next time get this planted. We've got enough seed in our seeder to do that, so we might get the Deutz doing that while this is while we get the other field cultivated. On the other hand, if we have a harvest contract come up, I really need to take that on. As I said earlier, our combine is expensive to run and expensive to keep going. So we need to make sure that we have enough money coming in each day to at least cover the costs of that. And as somebody pointed out last time during the last video, we had the money suddenly dropped. We suddenly had this massive drop in funds halfway through doing the harvesting contract, and that was simply because our combine ticked over another hour. I mean, that was basically it. It ticked over, it went to another hour, and as a result, we suddenly dropped from like 9,000 to 3,000. So yeah, that is the danger of our combine. It does cost a fair amount, which is why I'm thinking or considering dropping to something less expensive and maybe a little bit smaller, simply because, yeah, it would help us keep our heads above water a bit more. Or even just going, right, we've got no harvesting contracts for a while, let's build a few of them up and then hire a combine to do it. So let me know in the comments what you think to that, whether it's whether we should just drop the combine for a while and then maybe hire a new one once we've got a group of contracts together that we can do with it. Or even just using the combine that comes with the contracts, of course. Would that be a better choice to go with? So yeah, let us know in the comments, what do you think we should do as far as keeping hold of our combine, seeing as we are a way out from needing to harvest our own stuff for a while. Yeah, I'm really interested in your thoughts of that. It is the whole lease versus buy thing. It's a little bit tricky, I think, and still sort of learning and still trying to work that out. I think on seasons where you have a very concentrated harvest period, leasing your combine is quite a good way to go, because you're never going to hit that magic number of hours that would end up costing as much as buying the combine, especially during that first season where you've got very limited funds. But on here, where there's the constant possibility that you could have harvests, I'm not so sure. Anyway, as I said, let us know in the comments. We have got to the end of this field, so that is where we are going to finish today's video. Let's bring that up and fold that up. So yeah, all that remains is for me to say thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, drop us a comment and give it a share. And for the latest videos and live streams from Virtual Farmer, please subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.